Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Horst Lüning. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com. This is my son Ben, and today we have the Peat Cutter. Seems to be a smoky whiskey.
Yeah, if it's called Peat Cutter, then probably there's a lot of smoke in it. We've both have gone peat cutting.
Yeah, on the islands.
But I've not done any like hard labor. I think I've cut like 4 or 5 or something like that.
That's it.
But it's hard labor, definitely. Yeah, it's hard
because
labor.
It's so sucked with water. It's really heavy. First, you have to clean the surface, the lawn or the grass roots have to be gone, and then you cut the peat in the depth, something like this, probably 2 feet. And then you have this working tool. You throw them out on a pile, and then the water runs out, it dries over the weeks, and then you bring that home. And it's a hard work. It's really a hard work.
It's hard work, but that stuff is really cheap because it's everywhere. Let me explain what peat is. Peat is just organic substance, like grass, roots, or anything else. And that is kind of fermented, transformed without oxygen. So all the bacteria in there that transform it don't have any oxygen because there's water everywhere. It's done in the moors and in the bogs and mosses. That's where the peat grows, and because it grows very, very slowly, it's considered non-regenerative. But you've always told it grow about the millimeter a year.
Yes.
So it does regenerate, and if you calculate, there's a lot of stuff there. You have much more than you need for the whiskey industry. However, the peat
it's not only much more there as you need for the whiskey industry, but the growth each year is bigger than you need for the whiskey industry.
Yeah, so it's regenerating faster than the whiskey industry is using it. Unfortunately, there's also other use. There are here and there are Ilyachs, the old people that take the peat and actually burn it for fuel, for heat in their houses, but they are like old-timer drivers there. There are just a few people there and they don't use that much peat. The biggest consumers there is the agriculture.
The garden industry.
The garden industry, when you go to your local gardening shop and you buy, 50 kilos of peat, or the other thing is that it is just such a good starting growth for the seeds that they use a lot there in, let's say, Spain for growing their seeds and then later using that plants for food. So just be aware, peat is not a regenerative thing, but in the whiskey industry we use a very, very, very little. There are methods of grinding down the peat, producing more smoke, and so you can even use less peat now than
the yield
you
is
used
higher.
to later.
Yeah. So the peat cutter shows a man cutting peat and says cut number 1. So it's probably the first batch, and there will be more. And matured in first fill American bourbon casks. Color is not that bad. And it's working strength. What's working? It's not cask strength, it's working strength.
That's the strength you need to work.
During work.
During work.
So 49.5 is it. And then they tell us made with the finest Scotch, Highland and Island single malt whiskies. No, I'm a pedantic in this thing. Whiskey is a malt whiskey until it's bottled as a single malt. And this one is bottled as a blended malt. So there can't be single malt in it. All the ingredients are malt whiskies, and together they give us a blended malt.
So it's actually not a blend, but it's a blended malt. Oh,
yes.
Okay, so it's one step up.
No grain in it.
No grain in it.
It's a step up. And for $30 pounds and 49.5 for a peated whiskey, not that bad. It's quite a deal. Yeah.
You said 35 ppm. So
I'm sorry, I missed that. Heavily peated, 35 ppm, non-colored, unchill filtered. And I think when they would have used an Islay malt, they would have written that down, because Islay is that important.
So Highland and Islands.
So Island
which one?
Ledaig.
Ledaig.
Tobermory Distillery with the peated Ledaig malt.
I've never been to Ledaig. Is
Me
Tobermory?
neither. Me neither. But they are reopening now.
And they're big.
No,
I think they've
but quite
reopened in
important.
July or something.
Yeah, so they're important in the meantime. So they're growing.
Mm-hmm.
And there are peated whiskies in the Highland as well, like Ardmore or the Old Belantran from Tomitau.
Mm-hmm.
So those whiskies might be in here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or they have unpeated Highland malt and extremely peated Ledaig. And the average brings this 35 ppm.
Mm.
Peaty. Just only peat, nothing else in the start. There's a little cooling effect, probably in the alcohol in it. And, well, it's a phenolic, smoky, partly stinky.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely peaty. Definitely, it's peaty, smoky, and it's one of these phenolic, ashy.
Ash, that's it.
Ash,
yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whiskeys that are, I would say, dry in their smell, and there's little stuff you can smell around that. But what it is, definitely it is round. It's a round whiskey. It's not, well, it doesn't have that many edges where you say...
Can a one-dimensional whiskey be round?
Okay.
Can a point be round?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
It doesn't disturb you that much.
Yes.
When you smell it and you like peat, then
It's
a pleasant smell. Okay, let's find out if there's more in it then.
Astonishing. Sweet. Really sweet. Sweety, smoky. Working strength.
In your mouth, it's really sweet. Oh, now when you swallow, you have tons of smoke and ash. But the sweetness is not a fruity sweetness, but one of these really light, sugary sweetiness that is just sweetness. It doesn't have that much. Maybe a bit of a flowery note or just sweetness. I'm interpreting.
Sweet and smoky. That's
They're really going with the theme of work. An honest dram after a hard day's work. Their marketing is really going for working.
So, and I think this is a Middle European local brand. It will not be available because I think it's definitely made for the company.
You mean it's just German or around Germany?
Yeah, probably.
So it's not.
Available
Don't think we
worldwide.
will see it in America or Asian markets.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's I would say a low-priced one. It's 30%, and yeah, there is not that complex taste and smells in it for all of you malt heads out there. You're not missing out that much, but it's a relatively low-priced whiskey that you can easily drink after hard days of work. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.